Hello, Valley View Vikings. It's Mrs. Blackstone here. I just wanted to stop in and say hello. I know it's kind of a little bit weird that we're not at school and we're missing our friends and we're missing our teachers. But I just wanted to stop by and let you know that we don't have to be alone. We can still connect and we can still do things together, even though we're not actually together sitting next to each other. So today I wanted to read you a story. One of the things that I have a hard time when I'm sitting at home is coming up with things for my imagination to do. I love to read. I love to play games. But I wanted to share with you one of my favorite fairy tales today. And a fairy tale is something where people are using their imagination to tell a story that's fiction or not real. The story I want to tell you today is Once Upon a Cool Motorcycle Dude, written by Kevin O'Malley. Now, this story is a little bit interesting, and it's a little bit different. I'm interested to see what you notice. The end paper is pretty plain on this one, just purple. I really like end paper and books because it usually has something pretty cool. Written and illustrated by Kevin O'Malley, illustrated by Carol Heyer, illustrated by Scott Goto. Why do you think that this book has 3 illustrators? Remember, an illustrator is somebody that draws the pictures in a book. The author is somebody that writes the words in a book. So why do you think that there are 3 illustrators or 3 artists in this book? I want you to see if you can find out. For our library project, we were supposed to tell you our favorite fairy tale, but we couldn't agree on which story was the best, so we just made one up. I'll begin the story. My beginning's better, but go ahead. Once upon a time, in a castle on a hill, there lived a beautiful princess named Tenderheart. So you can see that we have 2 narrators. A narrator is somebody that is telling the story. So we have a boy and we have a girl. What do you notice about the picture from the fairy tale and Princess Tenderheart? What about the colors? What do you notice about the colors? Are they bright? Are they dark? Are they soft? What do you think? Every day, Princess Tenderheart would play with her 8 beautiful ponies. She named them Jasmine, Nimble, Sophie, and Polly, and Penny, and Sunny, and Monica. Her favorite pony of all was called Buttercup. Please, don't call him Buttercup. Call him Ralph or something. One night, a terrible thing happened. A giant came and stole away poor little Jasmine. All the other ponies cried and cried, but Princess Tenderheart cried hardest of all. It was very sad. The very next night, the giant came and took Nimble and Sophie. Princess Tenderheart cried all day and refused to eat. Oh, please, get a grip, princess. Do you know what it means when someone says to get a grip? It means that they're being a little bit silly and they need to kind of cool down a little bit. Maybe what they're saying is not real. Her father, the king, hired all the princes he could find to protect the ponies, but night after night another pony was stolen away. The poor princess just sat in her room and turned straw into gold thread. She cried and cried and cried. When only Buttercup was left, Princess Tenderheart thought her heart would break. Oh, who would protect Princess Buttercup? That's it. I can't take it anymore. I'll tell the story from here. So it sounds like our narrator here may have a different idea of what a fairy tale is than the other narrator, the girl that we saw. What do you think his fairy tale is going to look like? Do you think it's going to be the same or different? What do you think will be different? Dudes. One day, this really cool muscle dude rides up to the castle on his motorcycle. He says he'll guard the last pony if the king gives him all the gold thread that the princess makes. The king says okay, and the dude sits and waits for the giant. As if he's not even cute or anything. So yes, I think that maybe this fairy tale is going to look a lot different than the one the girl was telling, the one she was telling. What do you notice about the pictures for this one? What about the colors? Are they the same? Are they light? Are they dark? Are they bright? Are they pastel and light? What do you think? So that night, the giant heads up to the castle. Man, this giant was an ugly dude. He was big and mean, and he had 4 teeth in his mouth that were all rotten and yellow and black. And his breath smelled like rotten, moldy, stinky, wet feet. That's just gross. He needs 8 ponies to make a tasty pony stew, and he only has 7. So that night, he goes to steal the last horsey. He does not look very nice. Do you see the 4 teeth? I see 4 teeth. The muscle dude has this really big sword. The giant and the dude battled all over the place. The earth was shaking, and there was lightning and thunder, and volcanoes were exploding. It was huge. Volcanoes? Where'd the volcanoes come from? So, yep, they've got a very different idea of what can be in a fairy tale. I had one friend who told me volcanoes don't exist in a fairy tale, and then their sister said maybe they do. Because in a fairy tale, anything that you can imagine can happen. Night after night, the giant comes back, but the dude beats him. Night after night, the princess makes gold thread and gives it to the dude. He gets really rich. Look at her face. Do you think that she is enjoying this story? The end. That's it? The princess just sits around making thread? Yup. I don't think so. I'll tell you what happened, Bubba. I'm thinking that everything is about change in this story. I wonder what's going to happen. Princess Tenderheart goes to the gym and pumps iron. She becomes Princess Warrior. Very cool. She tells the dude to make his own thread. I don't know about you, but I would not want to be sitting around making thread for somebody else to get rich all day. So that night, the princess has this huge and tremendous battle. The giant runs back to his cave. The end. Do you think this is really the end of the story? What about his face now? Does he look like he's happy with the story? And the dude just sits there making gold thread. Nuh-uh, see, this is what really happened. The dude makes this really cool blanket out of the gold thread, and when he puts it over his head, he turns invisible. Then he goes to rescue the ponies. You can't see me. Look, the art has changed again. I want you to look at this art too, of our narrators. Do you see how kind of they've got some dots on them? That's the style the artist was making, is all those dots to make a shadow. That's what they chose. And then look at the fire on this one. So lots of different colors from what we're doing over here. Lighter colors. You can't see me. You can't see us. The princess goes with him. Fine. The dude and the princess get into this big fight over who gets to free the ponies. The giant hears voices and gets so scared he jumps off the cliff. Cool. So it looks like they finally agreed on their story. But let's take a look at this. This is called a font. A font is what words look like when they are printed on a page by a computer, and it can make words look different. Do you notice that these sentences look different? Do you notice the top one is kind of pretty and the bottom one is kind of bold or big? So the top one is what they used for the princess story, and the bottom one is what they used for the motorcycle story. It's pretty cool that they can show us different styles just in the text. Do you notice it's different here too? Can the design of the words, how the words look and not what they say, can that maybe even tell us something about the story? So the princess and the prince fall in love. Who said he was a prince? And what's this stuff about love? They get married on a beautiful spring day and they have a baby. It was the most beautiful baby girl. Nuh-uh. It was a boy. It was a girl. So in the end, our narrators, they agreed on maybe the end of the story, and they thought it was pretty cool, but they still ended up disagreeing. So maybe what we think of as a fairy tale might be different than what another person thinks of as a fairy tale, and that's okay. That's actually really cool because we can work together and create even better fairy tales using things from your imagination and things from my imagination. I'm really glad that you are able to join me today, and I would love to read you another story later. Have fun.